Welcome to the video on the UDL Principle of Representation. Providing course content and information through only one form of representation can be unfair and exclude many students. In order to promote fairness and understanding, it is important to offer course materials in various formats and methods. For example, printed texts may not be accessible to all learners, as they cannot customize the text to their needs. On the other hand, digital texts, like the one in this image, can be adjusted by changing the font size and color. Additionally, an accessible digital text can be accessed through additional modalities, such as being read aloud by a screen reader. The UDL Principle of Representation, which focuses on the content or the what of learning, includes 3 guidelines for course and lesson design. First, providing options for perception. Consider how to present course content in multiple modalities and sensory formats that allow students to use assistive technologies as needed. Second, providing options for language and symbols. Consider how to present the same content in different ways using language, symbols, images, etc. Third, providing options that support comprehension. Consider how to incorporate structures into your course that will help students understand the content. The overall goal for providing students with multiple means of representation is to help students become expert learners who are resourceful and knowledgeable. The first guideline for the UDL Principle of Representation is about perception. Perception involves the process of translating sensory input into useful information. The more senses course materials engage, the more accessible they are. One way to do this is to complement auditory and written materials with visuals, such as creating visual diagrams, flowcharts, or concept maps on the board, as like you can see in this image. 3D models that students can touch and manipulate, or interactive 3D simulations, like the one of the turtle that you are seeing in our second example, provide multisensory and interactive learning opportunities. If possible, consider providing opportunities for embodied learning, which involves using one's body to access new knowledge. Look at the example in this image, where learners try out how moving the body on different objects translates into physics concepts displayed on the computer screen. This hands-on approach can be a powerful way to engage students and support their understanding of the material. The second guideline for the UDL Principle of Representation is about providing multiple means for language and symbols. Some students may be unfamiliar with acronyms, technical language, symbols, or cultural references used in course materials. So make sure to always explain acronyms or create an infographic for the most important ones, like the one you see in our example here for SMART goals. Second, consider having a glossary for key terms, concepts, and discipline-specific language that you either provide for students or that you have students create individually or collaboratively as a class using the course learning management system. Third, offer alternative explanations for symbols. In the image shown, colors and arrows are used to emphasize certain aspects of the symbols used in an equation. The third guideline for the UDL Principle of Representation is about supporting students' comprehension of course content. This means helping them develop their information processing skills so that they can construct useful knowledge from the material. Consider how you can assess, activate, or provide necessary background knowledge. Consider surveying students to gauge their familiarity with specific knowledge or skills, like in the example you see on this slide, or have them complete ungraded pre-lesson self-assessment quizzes. You can also have them brainstorm what they already know about a topic before a lesson. Use this information to review concepts or skills where gaps are identified, or have more knowledgeable students act as peer mentors. Consider using think-alouds to verbalize your thinking process as an instructor. By sharing your thought processes and decision-making as you work through a problem or issue, you can provide insight into the expert mindset and help students understand how to approach similar tasks. This will help students develop their own problem-solving skills. Students may have difficulty determining which information is critical and understanding how everything fits together. To help them identify and retain key information, consider providing verbal and visual cues and using tools such as lecture outlines or graphic organizer, like the one you see on this image, for organizing and structuring course content and helping them understand the connections between different concepts. To summarize, the UDL Principle of Representation is about more than just making course content accessible in multiple modalities and sensory formats. It also focuses on providing structures and resources that help students comprehend and apply the material, ultimately enabling them to become expert learners who can independently acquire and use knowledge. Pause this video now. Type the link udlguidelines.cas.org/representation into your browser and explore the UDL Principle of Representation with its guidelines and their checkpoints on the CAST website. When you're ready to resume, hit play to hear some of our suggestions on how to enhance the learning of Robin and Jamie, our two model students. Let's consider what learning barriers Jamie and Robin might be facing. Both Robin and Jamie have difficulty with homework and exams. Jamie also has limited time to study the new content due to his other course load and soccer commitments. It may be that both students receive information mainly through reading a textbook and listening to lectures. For Robin, who has limited background knowledge in the data sciences course she is taking, not having prior knowledge or disciplinary specific language is a barrier. A common barrier for both of these students may be the inability to identify essential knowledge from the extensive and complex course content, and then to transfer and apply what they are learning to new situations such as homework or exams. To address these learning barriers and support students like Robin and Jamie, we can use the UDL Principle of Representation when designing the course and lessons. It would be helpful for both students if course content were presented through multiple modalities, such as interactive simulations, videos, or visual mapping. Other strategies might include having a glossary of key concepts and formulas, providing auditory and visual cues for key knowledge, using lecture outlines or partial notes to focus on important information, and incorporating retrieval practice activities at the beginning of each class session for regular review of key content. Hopefully, we are leaving you with a sample of valuable ideas for enhancing students' perception and comprehension of course content and course materials. Remember to check out also the additional resources on our webpage. Now go back to your own teaching context and the diverse learners in your course. Use the provided handout to identify what learning barriers related to perception, language and symbols, and comprehension may be present for the diverse learners in your class. Then apply what you learned about the UDL Principle of Representation and identify what options for perception, language and symbols, and comprehension, you could offer your students to remove those barriers.